Hypnotrading is a minefield of psychological and emotional challenges. Hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming techniques are commonly used by psychotherapists to help traders defeat those challenges and become more profitable. Joining me down the line is Catherine Stott, author of Hypnotrading, to discuss further. Catherine, a minefield of psychological and emotional challenges. Are we talking about the pressure and the risk of getting it wrong?
There is a lot of pressure on traders, whether it's the risk of getting it wrong, whether it's about self-esteem, whether it's about money. There's a lot of pressure because you don't know what's going to happen and you can't predict it. So whatever you do, you're not right and you're not wrong. You've just made a decision based on a judgment.
So what's the common psychological issues traders face?
Fear of losing, or indeed fear of winning and making profit, and the changes that can happen in your life then. There's a lot of negative self-talk. There's a lot of issues that are about technical details, so hesitating a bit too long, whether that's entering a trade or exiting a trade. And it can be various other issues as well, such as getting out of a trade too early, so never quite getting a big profit, just getting a small profit and running rather than being able to stick in long enough.
Well, I imagine for a trader the way to avoid these issues is identify the ones that apply to you first off. So how can they go about that?
Quite often, you'll know the mistakes that you're making, but you won't understand why you're doing them, or you won't know how to go about resolving that. So, for example, I had a trader contact me recently, and his main issue was hesitating to get into the trade. So he knew his method was correct, he knew it was a good strategy, and he knew that he would make profit the majority of the time, or at least more profit than losses. But for whatever reason, he would see the trade come up and then he couldn't get into it. A lot of it came down to confidence, because he was trading stocks and forex, but he was better at one than the other, but he wanted to be better at the one he wasn't so good at, and so he put too much pressure on himself, whereas when he was focusing on one, he was able to do a lot better than that. And so we used some NLP techniques and some hypnosis to boost his confidence and reduce his anxiety, so that as soon as he saw the trade, he would enter it rather than hesitating.
So Catherine, you're talking about hesitation, lack of confidence. So you don't just think that trading perhaps requires a strong-minded person?
No, I think that you can train yourself to overcome a number of the emotional, psychological obstacles that are there. I mean, for some people, trading isn't the best thing for them, but for the majority of people, they can start to achieve success.
So you offer a number of self-help solutions to make a more positive mindset, control emotions, and enhance ability to deal with psychological issues traders face. Talk me through the therapeutic techniques you recommend, such as hypnosis, for example.
Well, hypnosis is a wonderful therapy. It's based on being able to access different parts of your mind, the subconscious element, to create the changes that you want. So you can use it to enhance positive suggestion, you can combine it with affirmation, and you can use it to power up the benefits of neuro-linguistic programming. And neuro-linguistic programming techniques is actually simply using language to change the way that you think. So a very simple example would be someone who said, I want to lose weight. Well, actually, if you lost your keys or you lost your phone, that would be a bad thing. So why would your subconscious part of your mind think that losing weight would be a good thing? So you can change the language you use to be more about, I want to manage my weight. Or with trading, rather than focusing on the fact that you might make a loss, because many traders tend to focus on what they don't want to happen, you can use the techniques to get them to focus on what they do want to happen.
It is difficult though to control your mind, and especially when it comes to hypnosis, there is an element of skepticism here. Do you think there's a degree of a placebo effect in all of this?
Possibly. I think there's an element of, if you don't want to be hypnotised, nobody will be able to hypnotise you. The power of suggestion is a strong thing.
So give me examples of situations where this is needed and the sort of issues it involves and how you work through this with somebody.
I have had traders who've come to see me because everything's been going right in terms of their method, their strategy, being able to enter trades, but their decision making once they've done that has gone downhill. So once they're in the trade, they have to keep checking it rather than being able to walk away from the screen and go back to it later at the appropriate time, obviously depending on what they're trading. And so I can use neuro-linguistic programming to help them work out when to step away, when to time themselves appropriately, give themselves cues. Home-based traders might often sit there doing their trading in their pajamas, whereas a simple trick that I use with them is get them to wear almost like a uniform, so get dressed for work, because then you're sectioning that part of your life, you're going to work, so you're focusing on that, and then when you've done your couple of hours, you can get changed again into something different and segment that a little bit easier.
So you talked about dressing for the part, but what other things can traders do themselves at home to feel confident and ready to take on the day?
They can do a lot of visualization, so they can do activities to allow them to put other things that are happening in their lives out of their mind, so they can focus just on trading. They can use affirmation, which is positive sentences to focus on what it is that they want to achieve, such as I am a profitable trader. It's a very simple one, but it's very powerful. They can also use self-hypnosis to calm and relax themselves. So if they find before they even start the trading day they're filled with anxiety, then they can use that just to calm themselves down, so then we're in a more positive mindset. And the same as if they've lost a trade, rather than reacting to that, either revenge trading or taking irrational trades to try and claw the money back, they can use the techniques to stop themselves from reacting like that, so they can think and take a step back.